three most important things I think you can take from Kinstretch for your jiu-jitsu game and any kind of martial arts training are cars, irradiation, and ramping. I would also argue breath work was somewhere in there in a strong position, but just talking about these top three first for your active training thing, and we can get into the importance of the breathing kind of incorporated with all of that. To start off, cars, or controlled reticular rotations, are a staple in the functional range conditioning system, which I'm trained in, and is basically just taking every joint through its full range of motion. What this does is make sure that you get nutrients into the joints every day, that you maintain the range of motion that you have. You're doing a self-scan, a little bit of internal assessment every day on what is going on with your body, so you have fewer surprises that come up for you. You're more aware of what's going on. You literally have a better map of your body in your brain, so your awareness of where your body is in space is increased. And you also have a better idea of where your end ranges are for submissions, and that's super important when somebody is trying to submit you. We'll do other videos that talk about training to avoid submissions by making those range of motions stronger. But to start off, you can at least make sure that you do a controlled articular rotation for every single joint that we have, okay? For irradiation purposes, this is the ability to control tension within your body and also to spread it so that the entire body is utilizing that tension. Now, I just have my jiu-jitsu belt here with me, and we're just going to use this, since everybody has one, as a very simple tool to learn irradiation. You can start off by making sure you understand that it's not just about going 0 to 100. It's not going, here, loose, or trying incredibly hard. If you master those in-between things, that's where breath starts coming in, where you're able to control a low amount of tension or just the right amount using your minimally effective doses. Will make sure that you get less tired, make sure your body starts to get stronger, and that you don't burn out quickly. And what you want to have your goal is being able to use a minimally effective dose of tension, maintain it for a long time, or as long as you need it in the match or training position, and be able to breathe calmly while you're doing it. If you are ramping up to a degree that you're going crazy and you're resisting and your breath is starting to get away from you, if you're training with me, I'll probably stop you for a second and just draw your attention to your breath and say, hey, breath, and just hopefully you'll notice that and go, just take one deep one and kind of let that settle you down a little bit, adjusting yourself accordingly so that you don't burn out and you can train for longer and get higher repetitions in of all of it, okay? When we get into the ramping, this is kind of a way to increase your brain maps. So maybe when you're radiating and you're trying to give that intensity, that intenseness to the rest of yourself, you find that there are blank spots, almost, for lack of a better term. Like there are areas that you don't feel like you can really engage that well. Or maybe there are areas that feel like they're engaging almost too much and they tend to be stiff and sore or kind of overactive for you. Now, that probably means you don't have great communication either to that area or to the areas surrounding it. And we use things like ramping to pinpoint those areas and work to build better brain maps between them. If you don't use a range of motion for a long time, for whatever reason, maybe it was an injury, maybe it's just your daily habits have made it so you just didn't need a range for a long time, your body doesn't hold on to those that well. The brain maps start to disappear and you have stuff represented better that, or represent whatever you do on a regular basis. So, that we bring in things like building up those maps by using the ramping procedures. Like, okay, maybe I have all of this part of my shoulder works a lot, but and maybe a little too much, but I can't really engage very well down here. We would use ramping to kind of pinpoint those spots and work on being able to squeeze and release them. And then we put it all together with controlled articular rotations. So I can maintain the brain maps that I have in each individual joint and maintain that connection between my brain and my body in a full range of motion by using that full range of motion every day. It's a little bit of internal focus and making sure that I understand one joint separate from another. It's working on separating one thing from another so that I don't use my back every time I use my shoulder, because my back might get tired. But if I've got great individual portions and I can move them individually in a full range, it feels really good. I'm able to do it at a variable amount of intensity, like from the irradiation class, or I'm able to do it where I feel even engagement all the way around, which I can troubleshoot with my ramping. This all comes together to make you a really strong, capable person that's very body aware, very body literate, and able to do almost anything that you want to do. The best thing is it also means that you're going to understand where your limitations are currently and what you can work on. By doing this stuff on a daily basis, particularly the controlled articular rotations, you can kind of assess where you're feeling that day, how you're feeling that day, where you're feeling it, what your end ranges are. And that's a great thing for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioners, because if you know where your end range is before somebody is trying to put it there, it's going to be really helpful for you, right? So when you're in a submission is not the time that you should be learning where your end ranges of motion are, okay? Especially, you also get a better understanding of what if I do combine these things together. Like, this looks like I'm getting put into an Americana or a Kimura shoulder lock, but it's really just me moving my back. My shoulder isn't rotating at all. So if I have a better rotating shoulder and I've got spinal mobility, think about more possibilities I have to work out of and escape and create opportunities for myself, okay? Also, if you understand that better, it works well for the other side as well, because you understand if I pin one piece down, it limits the amount that one piece can move because they're not moving together. There's not as much range of motion there. We haven't even gotten into scapula and all that stuff. So, hope you enjoy. Again, it's broken down into 3 pieces. Work on them as you see fit. Make sure you're doing controlled reciprocal rotations every day, and be creative with all of it. I really want you to think of these as concepts as opposed to do exactly as I say, and play around with them, because that's the most important thing to me, is that you're being independent about the work that you're doing, because you're the one that has to do the work. I'll show you controlled reciprocal rotations from some jiu-jitsu specific positions, which I think will be kind of amusing and funny, and also important because you're doing sport specific ranges of motion of the way it looks when you get caught in an armbar, so you know all of your ranges of motion from there. Enjoy. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up, or if you feel like you want to work on things a little more, you can always sign up for the full Kinstretch membership, which has some more detailed things, but really this will get you really far. Okay, hope you enjoy.